Okay, hello, hello, hello. We are live in the Facebook group, Caffeinate Community, for our weekly caffeinated Q&A, and I'm really excited about it. We're 2 minutes late, it's been a long week, and I'm super excited for our guest this morning who's sharing her coffee with us. We have Buyi Mafoko in our Caffeinated Community Q&A session. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining, Buyi.
Hi, Abigail. Hi to your viewers. Thank you for the invite.
Yay! How has your week been?
It's been manic. It's actually been one of those pre-COVID type of weeks. I'm busy doing my master's, so I went back to school this week, all online.
Wow.
So it's so Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. I've got lectures. I've got one after this. And then meetings and work and the usual stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
my goodness. Have to throw that on top of there as well.
But that's my first calling, so I don't mind
Okay.
that.
The other bit, fabulous.
It's the other bit I have to balance.
Okay, so this is what you are, balancing and finding your feet with.
Yes, but loving all of it. I think I wouldn't trade all of it. Everything that I do, I try to be authentic to, and I enjoy. So
fabulous. Well, I'm super excited. It has also been, like you say, one of those pre-COVID weeks. I am currently in Cape Town, and I no longer live in Cape Town. So I moved to the countryside during lockdown. So I'm now a country girl, but I've been back in Cape Town this week to do some shoots. And it's been shoot after shoot after shoot after shoot for 5 days running. And after this call, I'm back on the road to the country. So yeah, it's been a busy one.
Rigorous.
So, absolutely. So this coffee is going to go down so well.
It has
and I'm super, what a blessing to end such a glorious week with a good conversation with somebody like you. So let us get going. Yay. Finally, let us get going with the questions. So this is an interview series that runs every Friday, and it is a wait and see what happens kind of interview.
Yes.
But before we jump in, can you give us a quick bio, who you are, what you do, and where people can find you?
Sure. So when I heard that I couldn't prepare for this interview, that was an interesting one, because I thought it's gonna test all my skills. But I love the spontaneity. So thank you for having me. I'm Buyi Mafoko. I am a businesswoman. Have had a 12 to 15-year entrepreneurship journey. I'm a sports sciences graduate from Wits, and went into marketing, worked a bit in my area of study, with some, with the Adidas group, headquartered in Germany, with the Virgin Group. And then, very quickly thereafter, I diverted to marketing. I think it called me, it pursued me. And I flirted with the idea and eventually went into it full time. And I entered that world. I always love to tell the story because I feel like I'm Anna Wintour in Devil Wears Prada. I was a magazine girl for about 2 or 3 years of my early career, working with your True Love magazines, fabulous events, travel. And I think as a young 20-something year old, it was fun, did that. And soon after that, branched into entrepreneurship full time. So I've been at it now for the last 10 years solidly. And most recently, I then went on to pursue, a space that I've enjoyed as a consumer, which is the luxury world. But now in the capacity of a luxury consultant. And that's also part of what has led me to my studies. So I'm a luxury consultant, a marketing and a brand connoisseur, as well as a serial entrepreneur.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a mom and a wife.
Yeah. Like I said, just like throw that on top of there as well. You don't have enough on your plate.
Excuse me?
You don't have enough on your plate.
Oh, no. I mean, we only have one life. Live it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let us jump into the coffee. Jump into the coffee, but also into the questions. And the way that we're going to do this is that we have 25 questions. We may or may not get through all of them, but we will see how many we get through for the duration of your coffee. However long it takes for you to drink your coffee, we're going to be asking questions. I've got my coffee.
How big is your cup? Mine is going to be an iced coffee by the time we finish.
No, it usually is. It usually is. But yeah, we roll with it. And so I'm going to take the first sip and we can get those questions rolling. We have our questions here on our wheel, right? So we're going to spin the wheel, and that's going to determine which question you get asked. And yeah, so this is where the no preparation comes into it.
Let me get comfortable then. Let's do it.
Get comfortable. Okay, here we go. So the first question. So it's got a keyword, and then I've got the question next to me, and I will be asking you about I will be asking you the question relative to that keyword. And all these questions, they either relate to personal branding, confidence, business, or just you on your quest, right? This question is content. No, not that one, this one. So this refers to your visual content. How important is visual content to your personal brand, and how do you integrate it into your overall personal brand strategy? I need to edit that.
Ooh, okay. I'm loving, and I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I think, as a marketer, naturally, very visually stimulated. And a lot of my way of marketing is because I'm an artist innately. That I think inspires my visual language, that I think inspires the content and the inspiration that I draw from art and culture more broadly. And how I integrate that, I think, this is one of the things that led me into my journey of moving into the luxury space, because I just love beauty. I love consuming beauty. I travel for art. I travel, with just like enjoying the cultural immersion of different environments, enjoying the gallery spaces and art in different forms, in music, in theater. And so I think for me, that is how I integrate it into my personal brand strategy. I love to live well. I love to dress well. I love to show up well. I love to have good conversations and dine well and travel well. And so I think that's how I integrate it into my personal brand, because that's where I draw my inspiration from. And that's where I engage and connect with people most authentically.
Yes. Oh, that is awesome. So inspiring. And I love where you draw your inspiration from. I think that can go a long way. And people tend to feel bottlenecked with their inspiration of, there's nothing, I can't create anything, or I can't share anything, but there's inspiration all around.
There is. I think in people, in culture, there's just so much beauty to be discovered, and everything is an art form,
Yeah.
And for me, that's the expression that I use, and that's the grounding that I have for everything that I create.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. Great answer. Okay, so we're on to the next one. Hide that one, so we count down. Okay, next question is,
what is that word?
I know it took me a while, but quadricennial. So you're nowhere near, right? You're nowhere near a quadricennial. How old are you?
33.
33. Okay, so you're getting there. So what this refers to is the time in one's life when one approaches the naughty 40s. Ooh. And so that must be on your radar at least, right?
Yes.
Have you given some thought to the fact that you are approaching 40s? And so the question is, does being or becoming or approaching 40 impact the way you perceive yourself online? And if so, how? And what are your thoughts on women over 40 and their ability to impact the world?
Okay. So thank you. I've been educated today. Quadricennial.
Quadricennial.
It's going to need a sip.
Yes, it is.
But I love to save a life, and I think age has never been intimidating for me because it's never been a limiting factor to how I live my life and how I set my goals. I've generally got an old soul, and so I feel like I've been 40 a couple of times in my lifetime as it is. And at that, I've got a lot of friends that are in their 40s already. So I get to have observe, women coming into such a beautiful space in their lives, a space of discovery, a space of emancipation, a space of just self-acceptance and celebration. And so with all the beauty and the joyfulness and the tests and the challenges, because we can't romanticize all of it. I think I'm quite excited. And so as I approach it, I am looking forward to becoming. I quite love the word becoming also on the back of Michelle Obama's recent tour and that Netflix documentary that she did, which I think was so honest. And I think the power of women to impact the world in their 40s, I think for women over 40, I think it is so, there should be a greater place for them or for us as women, because I think it's only then that we truly find our voice. It's only then that we feel unapologetic, whether you're in your career or as a full-time mom or as whatever it is that you are, a woman in corporate, a woman in business. At that place, I find that we have a more authentic experience of women because they come into a space of having lived, I suppose, the quarter of their lives. And then they realize, actually, I've wasted time being, there's something that I love Brene Brown, and there's a video that was shared with me by a friend just last week. And she talks about vulnerability. And she says, well, she reached a moment in her life that was so freeing and in almost a dangerous way, because for the first time, she accepted that I'm here for my purpose and not yours. So the fact that we go on naturally as women, compromising ourselves so much, yielding to our dreams so much. When you reach a place of really just, well, I'm here, you've got to expect me with all my ebbs and flows, but all of it is beautiful. It's a beautiful journey of being. And that's why I think women, there's such an attraction and a sexiness with women over 40, because they just embody power in every sphere of their lives. So I'm excited for it. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's like the stigma around, well, certainly from a Hollywood point of view, the older you get, the more irrelevant you get. And so this is why this is such a topic of conversation, as to, well, no, actually more relevant, more worth, more insight and value. And thank you. That's inspiring. And I wish I had that insight when I was your age. Let me just say that you.
So you're over 40 now then?
I am. I'm 41. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
So been and gone. Yeah.
Beautiful.
All righty. Okay. Next question. Hide that one. So the next one is a question outwards. So this is a question from you. So if you were to ask the audience or anybody watching the recording of this or anybody on here, what question would you invite them to answer that's relevant for you right now, that's maybe an aha that you've had of late that you would like to invite them to explore?
I would pose a question that says, yes, the COVID widely has been painted as such a dampening period. But for me, it's been such a period of stillness and healing. And so I would want to get feedback from other audience members around what is the beauty, because I feel that something beautiful can be born out of something messy. And I always try and locate those, even in my own challenges in life, I always try and say, well, what then is the beauty of this all? So I'd be interested to hear from your audience members as they share what is the beauty, what like you say is the aha that this has landed for them, because I think for me, I will never be the same.
I completely agree with you. Like, I've got goosebumps right now, that going into this, it was all fear and panic and all of this kind of thing. And yet where we stand right now, and we can look back and reflect, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
That's it.
Know?
That's it.
I wouldn't be living in the countryside right now if it hadn't been for lockdown and COVID.
Right.
You know? It's major.
It's just been a discovery. It's been like an unraveling, but a necessary one. And I think it's for, in as much as it's been jarring and a shock to our norm, I believe that I'm comfortable with the retrospective view of saying, well, God, thank you. Thank you that you brought us to this place of being able to be still enough to perceive ourselves again. Because I think we had missed it.
Completely. And it was like the nudge you needed, or actually the kick up the ass, quite honestly. We all needed to do some reconnecting to ourselves and reprioritizing.
Yeah. So that would be my question. And in any platform I sit, I think I'm interested to hear how other people have experienced it. So
that's great.
I would look forward to the comments on this.
Yes. So if anybody watching this now would like to share your answer to that question, what has been the gift, what has been the beauty from this whole COVID 2020 lockdown situation? And if you're watching the replay, drop your comments down below as well, because the learning and the sharing and the connecting doesn't stop. That's the beauty of the digital age that we now live in. Yes. So drop your response and share the gift and the great things that have come from all of this. Great question. Okie dokes. Next one.
I love the spin the wheel feature. I should use it when I'm trying to decide what's for dinner.
That's a good one. It's a great app with you. You can, have it all mapped out for you. Okay, competition. So this question asks, how do you handle competition, and what do you compete in, or who do you compete against?
I'm very intrinsic, and I draw my energy for the drive that I have to pursue the things that I want to do from myself and really from my spirituality. And so I never benchmark. I try never to benchmark myself against others. In fact, I am not intimidated by learning. I'm not intimidated by asking. I'm not intimidated by saying, well, Abigail, reaching out to you and saying, you seem to know a little bit more about the subject. I'd love to just learn from you. And so because I'm very intrinsic, I find that I'm not competitive, and particularly for women, it's expected that you're competitive in a bitchy catty way. But I tend not to be, because I think my background has allowed me to, I've always felt individualistic. I've always had the opportunity to delve into the independence of my identity. And so I never competed to the extent of trying to, competition is healthy to a degree, but I never competed to an extent of trying to say, she did that, so I'm going to do that, and it's me that I compete against. I think sometimes I'm extremely hard on myself, but I've seen the fruits. And so I embrace it. I embrace the fact that I know I'm entrusted with a little bit more for my life and for my purpose. And so I conduct myself as such.
Oh, man. You say you're only 33?
Well, going on 53. It's all those years with my grandmother.
See, the knowledge being passed on. The philosophy, the insight, the perspective. That's fantastic. My goodness. Love that answer. And that just speaks completely to collaboration over competition.
Right.
Like, work together. We are better together rather than stepping on each other to, make it ourselves.
there's always someone who knows more. There's always someone who's already been where you want to be. And so mentorship for me is also a big thing. So rather than competing, I'd rather just say, well, please mentor me in this area. Like if public speaking is not my thing, I'll say, hey, Abigail, you do this every Friday or every week. You know, do you have time to give me some pointers? And I think as women, we don't do that enough, particularly because corporate and the business environment is so competitive. But yeah, I think for me, it's just, it's constantly showing up as myself. As well.
Absolutely.
Like,
and like you say, having the like confidence to ask for help, like, and to acknowledge that I don't know, or I don't have, or I can't yet, but how can I? There's somebody who's shining, and you know, a shining example of how it's done. Let me reach out. And I don't think we do that enough. I think that's a great.
It's been a learning. It's been a learning and a coaching area for me too. You know, that asking for help. And I think, you know, my sister and I have this thing that we say that we're on a journey of becoming vulnerable, because it feels like life has, well, at least for us, life has felt like a constant pursuit of something, pursuit of like, okay, being the first ones to graduate, being the first ones to get married, or whatever it is, and so you know, you build a shell, you become hard on the exterior. And I find that now that we're enjoying the gifts of the work that we've put in, it now takes us being vulnerable and softer again, but in the right spaces, and then in the right with the right people. And you've got to create those spaces and carve out those moments. You can't just go through life being vulnerable with everybody.
Context is everything. Great. My goodness. Great answer. Thank you for sharing that. It's going to be like these little sound bites that I cut out here, because it's like, damn, need a little injection of wisdom here.
Dropping pins.
You so are. Okay, let us go. Right. So, character.
Yes.
The question is, if you were a superhero or a cartoon character, what would your costume look like, and what would your name be?
My name would be Just Be. Just Be. And wow, and my character would be you know, so there's this, maybe to try and answer this question, I'm finding myself in a season of acceptance, like I said. And my motto right now for the season of my life is perfect in my own imperfections. And so that's why my name would be Just Be, because I think we don't just be enough. We're very structured. We're very, you know, planned out. We're not spontaneous, and I'm learning that more, because I've obviously had, you know, spent the past sort of decade building my career, and now I think it's that state of just being. So probably my costume would be whatever I feel like that day. If I just felt like pajamas and no wig, I would just be. Just be. If I just felt like looking fabulous that day, I would just be. I hope.
Beautiful. Great. That's a good one. I almost see you like Captain Imperfect and owning it.
and we have to, I mean, I'm a mom of 2 boys. And, you know, with kids, I'm sure you'll know that they teach you so much about yourself. And I'm getting to witness or to experience myself again in saying, well, it doesn't have to be perfect. Not all of it, not all the time anyway. And we need to just let them be. We need to just be more. And I think COVID has showed us that we can be more. And therefore I'm trying to, you know, I always say, I've been saying to my friends that according to me, I'm still in level 5, because I'm just home more with everything that's going on. I can't deal with the energy shift that has been so abrupt. But COVID just allowed us to be. because we didn't know when the next announcement was coming. We didn't know when the country was going into a deeper lockdown again. And so we just almost had to live in the moment with each other. And you had to choose the people you wanted to be with for the duration of the lockdown. So just be.
Just be. And I like that like play on words. It's like not be more as in you're not enough, but just like from a frequency point of view, the duration, be in a state of being more often. Beautiful. Love that. I am. Right. This is like that. What did Oprah do? The Soul Sunday. This is like one of those kinds of conversations.
Sunday soul session.
There we go.
The hot stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next question. How's your coffee doing?
It's being.
Good. It's being, okay. And on that note, so the question is quiet time, right? So let's have a look. So the question is, are you introverted or extroverted? And how much quiet time do you need to recharge, and what do you do?
Okay, love this question. So I'm an introverted, extroverted. I'm a balance of the two. I'm not intimidated by being with myself in my own space. I don't bore myself. My company does not bore me. I mentioned earlier that I'm very intrinsic, so I draw definitely my strength from within, from my spirituality as well. And I'm extroverted in context. Naturally, my work commands me to be extroverted. And I love it. I love people. I love being able to connect. I love building deep connections. I've got a diverse background of friends. I've got middle-aged women, white women, Indian women that are my friends, like gang. Where our kids met as friends at school. I've got gay couple friends, multicultured friends, and it's just such a beautiful way to connect with people, and I enjoy that part of being extroverted. I also come from a very social family. I always say that we're a loud, boisterous cooking family, but not so much an eating family. We just love the culture of being in the kitchen and cooking together, but no one really settles down and eats.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we it's all about it started around being, in the kitchen with our gran, and then my mom, and then their siblings and my aunts and my uncles, and everyone from my uncles and my brothers, they cook, but also the artistic side of the family. My dad's side is, my dad was a thespian. I've got an uncle in music. I've got cousins in theater. So it's just such a beautiful balance that has shaped my personality. And in terms of what I do for quiet time or to recharge, I think that for me is my place of solace. I think, I pray. I'm a firm believer in God, and I embrace all cultures and all religions. But for me, I think that is my source. When I cannot hear from God, and I think He's the compass of everything that I do. So when I cannot hear from Him, I'm just, without direction, and so I have to go to that place. And wherever I feel internally noisy or volatile in myself, that's the place that I need to locate myself back at in order for me to be, because that's also the source of where I create from, and when I create. So that's how I draw my quiet time. I love to light candles. I love to pray. I love to listen to music. I love to different literature. And I love to discover other religions. There's such beautiful, like for example, the Jewish religion in terms of the Shabbat meals and the significance of that. I think with friends of mine that have opened themselves up to teaching me, I think it's been such a beautiful, I use a Jewish prayer shawl, for example, because I just love, it's my tent of covering, and it's a place that I know I can go to. So it's things like that I think. And right now, actually, on this question, I'm also rediscovering my religion in the context of my culture. So I'm busy trying to understand that, okay, as a Black person, culturally, as a charismatic Christian, what is the context? And a friend, my best friend's older sister actually led me to some of the work by Credo Mutwa, and just different people and authors around that journey. So I'm enjoying that evolution as well. And yeah, I think, but I think prayer is just the place that grounds me and that gets me still. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. And like the exploration of different perspectives and things, that's so, and incorporating that into then what, like you say, brings you back to your source, your,
And
your
were it not for
ground.
that, and were it not for that, we would only then live in Christian-only societies, which is impossible, or Muslim-only societies, or Jewish-only societies. And what beauty is there in that we couldn't sit across the table and have the conversation around.
Well, and each to like every one of the 7 billion people on the planet, like it's a completely unique experience, and you flavor it in your own unique way, and it might have a tendency to look similar to somebody else's version of it, but it will always and forever, because of what you're pulling from other experiences, be your own unique experience of that.
And it's dynamic, and it should be. I think when we stop, that's where we die. When we stop. So it should be like, I've got, for example, a friend of mine, she's Jamaican, and just as we connect more, I've been discovering how she, being Jamaican, how that has influenced her spirituality. And you're just like, oh, okay, that lands some things for me too, in terms of how you can be authentic. She can be authentically Jamaican, but she can still be Christian. And how she expresses our gifts, because I also believe that we're all gifted. I don't think there's no one that isn't gifted. And it's the day you discover your gift is the day you know what your purpose is and the why. So I think I could talk about this topic all day.
Oh, I can hear that. The passion is palpable. Beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you for sharing that. Gosh.
This wheel is like, this is so much fun. Like, it's different. You don't know what's coming. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so confidence.
Okay.
In the downward direction, right? So what still knocks your confidence?
Well, I think it's self-doubt. It's self-doubt is what is the, there's not so much that people do to knock my confidence, but it's when I doubt myself, when I'm not, and when I'm intimidated by something that I feel like, oh, this is a little bit too big for me. That would probably, that is one of the things that I think knocks my confidence, that I'm still trying to say. And I've been dealing with this with my life coach, and she's been saying that, well, then what is the evidence? Let's gather the evidence that say that you can or you can't, and then know whether you can or you can't. But I think it's the self-doubt. It's the voice. It's what you say to yourself about yourself. It's how you, it's the stories we tell ourselves. And they may not be accurate to,
So it's your interpretation of the situation rather than the situation itself.
Yeah. And just challenging the thoughts. Just challenging the thoughts that then tell you that you can't, because if we look at your track record, or if we look at your experience, everything has merit that you can. So sometimes I approach things with the reluctance, but I'm choosing to be brave. I'm choosing to put myself in situations where because then, like this conversation I couldn't prepare for. But all I could do is show up as myself, and it's very difficult. difficult to fake that
Yeah.
essence of who I am.
Yeah.
And I just speaking to myself this morning, I just said, you're just going to rely on who you are. and that's it.
And that's exactly the point of these conversations, because we are all always stressing about, am I prepared enough? Have I done enough? Am I did it enough? You are, just by showing up. That is the proof that you are enough. Just the fact that you show up.
Just show up, you know. You're quite, I mean, there's an article I contributed to for Women's Month, and you know, they were saying, what is your advice for women? And I said, just show up. Just show up messy, show up imperfect, show up, and just show up. I think showing up sometimes is the only thing that you can do. And you've taken a step further than the person that just chose not to show up. So sometimes showing up is enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. More than enough.
And also then the moment will rise to meet us with that, from that intention of just having shown up. And it'll be reciprocated by just the energy of the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's coming back then to that, like that internal compass, that grounding and trusting that the work you do there in your quiet times, that's when that really shows up for you, when you show up in the moment, you know?
Yes. You and you've got to, you know, you serve your gift and your gift will serve you. You serve your gift up until your gift then serves you.
Damn, that's a tweetable, if ever there was one.
A tweetable, yes, it's our word now. So yeah, I think serve your gift and your gift will serve you back. It will take care of you. It'll be kind to you. So
that's a goosebump moment right there. Thank you. What a gift. Okay, jokes. Right. So coffee sip. My coffee's starting to get cold, so we are nearing the end.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to talk about comfort zones.
Yes.
So, what's the most recent comfort zone you stretched, and what was the outcome?
Okay. It was writing more. So the recent comfort zone I stretched was writing more. So I love to write. I think I express myself better in words. And with the lockdown, there are a lot of changes happening in the luxury space, particularly. And I wrote some thought leadership pieces, some opinion pieces that are being published around the new rules of luxury, how that is changing, around shifts in the industry, trends that are emerging and stuff like that. So that's been the most recent comfort zone. I'm still stretching as we speak. I've got a deadline to write one as well this weekend, but I'm enjoying it because then you've got it's a balance of obviously research, but also just like opinion. That's why they're called opinion pieces. And you've got to have enough of a repository of information in you to be able to craft something like that. And so for me, it just gave me it affirmed that I've learned enough. I'm learning enough about the subject, and I'm of course still a student of the subject. And interested in, you just love it, passionate about it, and so I'm feeling, I'm stretching.
Continually stretching.
As we stretch.
Somebody's saying you're so wise for your age. I agree. I completely agree. You're so wise for your age. If I knew what you knew when I was your age, my goodness, I sound really old.
Thank you for that affirmation.
Here we go. All right, next one.
Compare curiosity.
No, we moved it over to curiosity. It was a close one there. Okay, so curiosity. What fascinates you? What burning questions continue to stoke your curiosity?
Love this question too. Well, I also touched on it earlier that my demeanor to life is that of a student. I think, in life we're constantly you've got to discern the time that you're in, because you're either called to be a student or the teacher, and interchangeably you'll always occupy both positions at different times. And so when you're a student, you know that your conduct in a classroom, you don't stand up when the teacher's conducting the class and then tell everybody what's going to go down. You settle down and you take notes and you observe and you listen and you go back and revisit the notes. And right now in my life, in this season of my life, I know I'm called to be a student. And so I'm immersing myself in every opportunity to learn. And there's been moments, I think, obviously, as a business owner, as a leader, I'm also then called to be a teacher. And then I exhibit the conduct of a teacher. And I know that I don't stop. I don't have to be bitchy doing it, if I can put it like that, because my responsibility in that moment is to teach. And so I also cannot teach without content and without a repository of information. So I have to be diligent in those moments of being a student so that I can acquire enough knowledge to be able to live up to the moment of me being a teacher. And so I've always also been intrigued, just, someone once taught me around seasons and how we've got to look at our life as seasons. And it will help you know how to be in different seasons. Like in winter, you're not going to be planting seeds or expecting to reap a harvest in winter because it's winter. But in spring, you know that, like right now, I feel like I'm in the spring of my life. And I'm very excited about the summer, but I know that the winter or the autumn of my life is inevitable. It's going to come around again because it's cyclical. But you do enough in the autumn and the winter to prepare for sustenance in the spring and the summer of your life. And so as I rebuild, as I acquire knowledge, I think my curiosity, particularly in this moment, my curiosities are a lot around the luxury world and how it's just being challenged and changed and disrupted in such a beautiful way as well. And particularly because I'm interested in the relationship that we have as Africans with luxury. My appetite right now is around seeing the emergence of all luxury brands with their own stature on global stages.
Gosh. I'm going to be rewatching this recording, I can tell you, because you have shared some nuggets that I needed to hear today. And I know that somebody watching the recording here is just going to be like, damn, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And this is where the non-preparation comes in, because that was flow. Amazing. Thank you for that gift. Gosh,
it's an absolute pleasure.
Wow. Okay, I've got about 2 sips left. My coffee is officially bordering into the cold coffee section. So that means about 2 questions to go. So we'll get spinning. Okay. Cringe. Right. So the question is, what do you cringe about, or what still makes you cringe when you think about it?
Oh, I cringe about, I think particularly being in the luxury space, you experience people who are altered by what they acquire. And that is cringeworthy for me, because I think that's why I find that education is so important, just on the culture of the space. And as marketers, we have the responsibility of educating people. So when somebody doesn't know, they don't know up until they know, because they perceive at their level of understanding. But I think that's one of the things that makes me cringe, where it's just distasteful in terms of how they do it. And some people just, they always say money will illuminate what it finds. So if you're an ugly person, it illuminates the ugliness. If you're a kind person, it illuminates the kind. That's why you have certain people with money that are philanthropists and give away 90% of their wealth. But that's because that's always who they were. But then you have the other people who just are greedy and want more. So, yeah, and I think particularly coming from a background of not having, I find that even when I've acquired a little bit more than what I had growing up, it hasn't particularly. It's a means to an end for me, and it's not the thing that drives me in my career. It's not the thing that, like, I don't work for money. I work because I'm doing what I love, and money is the byproduct of that. So I think it's that, and it's now I think I've overcome it being so cringe worthy. And with my luxury consultancy, the Events Fraternity, the work is around then educating people on the culture and the richness of how your luxury purchases don't have to be exhibitionist. They don't have to,
define you.
Define you. But
Amazing.
yeah.
So you're doing good work in the world, and that is like wealth consciousness and all of that. That's a thing. People don't know how to be with money, be with wealth, be with. They lose touch with who they are, and again, coming back to that grounding.
And social media is just a tricky platform to navigate, because it only amplifies, again, what it finds. I mean, I'm not on any social media right now. I still have kept my profiles, but at the start of the lockdown in March, I deleted all my apps. The only one I have is LinkedIn. So I still have them there.
But you're not active.
But I'm not active. So, and I'm happy. I just wanted to go on the diet and know that I can live without it. But because I'm already a very private person and a very, intrinsic person anyway, I think I haven't missed a thing, because the people I've needed to live with, I've been seeing. So I think I've stayed connected in that sense, and truly connected, because at a certain point I even was off WhatsApp. And now to ask people to find you, to send you an SMS, they were just like, we're not even going to bother with you, because we can't forward you this joke. But I was just like, you teach people how to treat you as well. And I think the people that are in my life know the environment of my life. And so it wasn't an obstacle for them.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. So much. I think people, even though you're not active on social media, people should be following you, because there's much to learn from you.
Wow.
Okay, and so final sip and final question.
Right on time.
And that was a cold sip.
Yes, it
was. Final question. Career path. So you already shared a little bit about how you got to where you got. Let me just get the question for you. Oh, here we go. In the time it takes to boil the kettle, tell us about your career path that got you here.
Okay. So I think for me, it's perceiving my gift and moving in it. I think it's the moment I perceived my gift is the moment that I began to define my career, I believe. I think everything happened as it should have. I went through my sports science degree as I should have. And I'm here now. I think being a marketer, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, being a luxury consultant, I'm exactly where I should be. And I love the journey of discovering where it's going to take me, and just continuing to express myself. I always say that for me, my career is my pulpit, and that's how I engage people. It's the platform through which I have to show up as myself, and I have to be authentic to myself. And for somebody else, radio is their pulpit. For somebody else, dance, music,
Mm.
being a president.
Yeah.
Are they, and we all have pulpits. We just have to also be responsible with the platforms we're given.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I've done incredibly well with the time that I've had with it so far.
Beautiful. And so excited to see where you go from here, because who knows, you know?
Yes.
It's an ongoing journey of discovery. And
Yes, it is.
if somebody wants to find out more about you and the services that you offer, where's best for them to find you online?
So LinkedIn is best.
Okay.
I'm Buyi Mafoko on all platforms, actually.
Okay.
But LinkedIn is best because it gives a full background of who I am and the work that I do, and I constantly am updating that with my latest work. And just an inbox, you know.
Okay.
And please mention that you met me on the platform. I'd love to know how you came through. So
Awesome.
LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such an inspiring conversation, and I feel like I could go and fill up my cup and have another coffee with you. This has really been so inspiring, and I'm so grateful that you've spent an hour with us chatting, sharing your innate wisdom, which clearly you are walking your talk. You are embodying all of that wisdom that you carry around.
Oh,
and
my,
yeah,
thank you.
I look forward to journeying with you, following what you do, and I'm just incredibly grateful that you've been with us this morning.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for inviting. I mean, I don't take it for granted, and I appreciate it. I appreciate your audience for them taking the time. You know, we should be very clear about who we are allowed to speak into our lives, because words shape and they create. And so thank you for allowing me to speak into your audience's life, and for giving me the audience as well, and inviting me on this platform. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. And I know always that with these conversations, I mean, this is a new weekly segment, and I always just trust, you know, that what needed to be heard is what comes up in the conversation. And that's why that, like, just show up. Don't overthink it. Don't over prepare. Just trust. And those who watch the recording or watch it live, they're here to receive what you have to share. So thank you.
So you're also doing excellent work in that sense, because you're allowing us you're giving us spaces to be ourselves more. So thank you so much for the work that you do.
And long may it grow and expand, and let us share our collective wisdom with each other. And like you say, find your mentors, ask for help. You know, you don't know it all. Yeah. And this is how we reach the people who know something that we might not. So thank you for everything you shared.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Good luck with your studies and all of that you've got going on, and your many hats, and go on and impact the world.
They are all mine in all their glory. I love them. I chose them. So thank you so much. Have a good day further, and to all your audiences as well.
Thank you. All right then. Bye.
Ciao.